When Doctor Who went off the air in the end of 1989, I imagine that most Whovians thought that the show was over forever. But they came back in 1996 with a TV movie that was kind of a backdoor pilot starring Paul McGann as a possible 8th incarnation of the Doctor. That, as we all know, didn't quite pan out. But in 2003, on the wings of his success with another famous British series called Queer as Folk, TV producer Russell T Davies came up with the idea for a modern-day Doctor Who, starring this man here, Christopher Eccleston. And he only played the Doctor for a year, unfortunately, apparently fearing being typecast. But his brief time on the show was a very fruitful one, and his birthday and his time on Doctor Who is what I'm going to be celebrating today, the official relaunch of Doctor Who. Again, we're doing a little time traveling here. This is not going to appear on my Doctor Who calendar until September of this year. That's Christopher Eccleston as the 9th Doctor on the relaunched Doctor Who. His Doctor was a bit more rough around the edges. He played John Lennon a few years later in the series Lennon Naked, and Eccleston's Doctor had a John Lennon-like quality about him. He was resourceful, witty, and actually rather edgy in some ways. Unlike all the Doctors I've ever seen, he actually had some qualities of the first Doctor and the 6th, but he also wore a leather jacket, which made him seem a bit more like a secret agent than a Time Lord. On the other hand, during his time, he definitely had some very interesting encounters, and he came along at a time when the Time Lords were actually thought to have been destroyed in the last Great Time War. So he probably had the Time Lord equivalent of PTSD in a lot of ways. Behind him is the Daleks from the season finale, The Parting of the Ways. That greenish creature to your lower right is the calcium-based Slitheen family member from I can't pronounce the name of their planet, I'm sorry. And the TARDIS. And, of course, one of the Time Reapers from the episode Father's Day. If one thing can be said that's very significant about the 2005 relaunch of Doctor Who is a massive change in the show's format. Now, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, Doctor Who, in general, with very few exceptions, was a serialized format show, with each half-hour episode ending with a cliffhanger and concluding the other week with the next part, and rinse and repeat. Now, in this period, the pace of Doctor Who, which was originally somewhat slow compared to today's modern television, was quickened to an extremely high pace. Now, you don't need to quicken things to a high pace necessarily for a standard hour-long show, but in addition, the show was, let's just say, substantially less serialized, to the point where each episode was generally a standalone one-hour episode, more like Star Trek or any other contemporary science fiction show. And that was the big changeover. Now, in the first series of Doctor Who, in the first episode of this, entitled Rose, the 9th Doctor, played by Eccleston, was joined by Rose Tyler, as played by Billie Piper. And now this has been reissued once already in a big box set. This is the short box set. I like it because it's space-saving and more convenient. But it still has this nice slip cover, which you can take off to reveal the standard DVD underneath. There's the front of that set. The back of it, showing clips from different episodes. Again, you see a Slitheen there, and one of the Slitheen in their human skin suits, a Dalek, and different characters. Let's open it up and take a look at the disc, shall we? There's the first disc right there, containing the episodes Rose, The End of the World, and The Unquiet Dead, where the Doctor and Rose meet Charles Dickens. All great episodes. This was my first exposure to what a lot of people call New Who. Aliens of London and World War III is somewhat of a two-parter featuring the Slitheen family and Dalek, the first Dalek story of the new series, featuring a single Dalek, actually. Kind of different story for them. The Long Game, Father's Day, And of course, the empty child and the doctor dances. You know, Whovians all know this imagery very well. The child with a gas mask. Are you my mommy? I'm going to do a terrible job of that, but you all know what I'm talking about. Then, of course, there's Boomtown, Bad Wolf, and The Parting of the Ways, and Doctor Who Confidential here. And in The Parting of Ways, the 9th Doctor regenerates into the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. But we'll get to David Tennant a little bit later here. Now, I should also note that during this particular series of Doctor Who, the 9th Doctor got a redress of the TARDIS. It was nothing like the variations on the same theme that would occur in the classic Doctor Who series. It was much bigger and definitely seemed much more alive and colorful and more extraterrestrial than any other TARDIS we'd ever seen. And actually, that carried over into the rest of Russell T Davies' time on the show. And anyway, that's my tribute to the 9th Doctor. Happy birthday, Christopher Eccleston. And everybody out there, enjoy your Doctor Who. Thank you.